introduce you to the 3D Experience platform, and specifically we'll take a look at our industrial design tools. This is the newest app available to us on the platform. So we'll introduce you to the platform. We'll take a look at some of the tools available for us there, and we'll take a look at the software, and we'll try and keep it brief to about 30 minutes or so. So appreciate you joining us this afternoon. So first and foremost, what is this symbol? It's called a compass. It's called the If We compass, and we'll be seeing more and more of it in the coming months and the coming years. Whenever we see this compass, it's going to be a reminder that we're actually working in the 3D Experience platform. And the compass is going to be located in the upper left-hand corner of what we call the single modeling environment. That single modeling environment is this 3D Experience platform. And the compass is actually the tool that we use to switch between application sets on the platform. So naturally, two questions come to mind. First and foremost, what is the 3D Experience platform? And secondly, what does that mean for the future of our SOLIDWORKS design tools and how we interact with our designs day in, day out? So, excuse me. The platform itself is the cloud-based next-gen design and social collaboration set of tools from Dassault Systems. It really is the evolution of many of the quote-unquote V6 technologies that are familiar to Dassault customers in the CATIA brands and the Simulia brands and the Innovia brands. So SOLIDWORKS is another brand of Dassault Systems, and we're embracing this 3D Experience platform. So the platform itself is organized into 5 distinct areas. In the north, we have our social and collaborative apps. You can think of this as kind of your Facebook for projects. So we have 3D Swim. Swim is See What You Mean, and 3D Space, and that's where we're actually storing the data for all of our items in the platform. To the east, we've got the information intelligence apps, and for the SOLIDWORKS users, that's going to be the 3D dashboard. On the dashboard, we can add widgets, we can add feed readers, we can add a number of items to keep up to date on industry trends, keep up to date on project status, and have an interface to share and collaborate with others and get up-to-the-minute reporting information. In the south, we've got our simulation apps. So these come to us from the Simulia brand, and we have structural validation, so stress and strain, and durability validation, so fatigue, for example. And these are the simulations that we can run on our 3D Experience data. Finally, to the west, and most important for us as 3D designers, are our 3D modeling apps. So today, that consists of 3 apps. There's the SOLIDWORKS Conceptual Designer, SOLIDWORKS Industrial Designer, and the SOLIDWORKS Connector. So we'll see more about these particular objects in a couple of minutes. And then finally, in the center of the compass, it's actually a context-sensitive button, and it has different functions depending on what environment you're in. So if you're in Simulia, if you're in Industrial Designer, if you're in your 3D Space, it does different things depending on where you're at in the environment. So now that we have an idea as to what the platform actually is, why do I keep calling these things apps? And back to my original question of how is this going to impact the future of my SOLIDWORKS tools and what I'm doing? What we're going to start seeing is we're going to start seeing a blend of technologies available to us going forward. First and foremost, we've got Saltworks Desktop. Right? That's the set of tools that we know and love today. That's our 3D CAD, our simulation tools, our PDM tools, our composer, electrical, all of those. SOLIDWORKS is committed to maintaining that set of technologies, that set of tools, and expanding it. Right? We're seeing new products coming out all the time. 2016 just went into beta this week, and there's a whole bunch of new stuff for us to start taking a look at and getting into there. But in parallel to the SOLIDWORKS Desktop that we know and love today, we've also we're starting to see some of these hybrid cloud apps introduced on the 3D Experience platform. The apps, in this case, are installed and they run locally, so they still run on my local machine, but all of the data exists in the cloud. Okay, that's where we've got the hybrid approach here. So conceptual design and industrial design are really the first two apps available to the SOLIDWORKS channel, to the SOLIDWORKS customer base. And these are really purpose-built tools that are targeted for specific types of users or specific use cases. And in the platform, you're able to actually switch back and forth between the tool sets in this single modeling environment. We also have the SOLIDWORKS connector, which allows us to save or publish 3D CAD files straight from SOLIDWORKS Desktop into our 3D space in the cloud. And then finally, we'll start to see apps that are exclusively browser-based and exist entirely in the cloud. And generally, those will be tailored for tablet use or mobile use and mobile input. We've got a tool called SOLIDWORKS Sketch Mechanism, and that's a subset of the conceptual design tools that are available strictly through a browser, so no client install. So we're pretty excited about the evolution of this technology. But like I said, we can expect continued development and new products in all of these categories in the coming months and years. These technologies are being developed and introduced in parallel. So what exactly are we doing today for the next 15, 20 minutes or so? Well, what are these things? We've probably seen them or read about them recently. They are the Amazon Prime Air drones, and personally, I can't wait till these things deliver packages autonomously to my doorstep. But what are they not? Okay, they're not sexy, right? It kind of has a DIY, built in my parents' basement sort of feel to it. But hey, I'm an engineer, right? There were some functional requirements. Things got to fly. It's got to carry a payload of X number of pounds in this footprint of a container, and it's got to fly for N number of minutes, right? Check, 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 check. We're good. We've met the functional requirements. But what we're going to do today is we're going to use the industrial design tools to, design a swoopier body for the airframe, something more organically shaped, something that would be, quite difficult or quite cumbersome for us to create with the tools that we have available to us today inside of SOLIDWORKS Desktop. So we'll use SOLIDWORKS Industrial Design, and we're going to start with 3D primitives, and that's a basic building block shape that's going to give us that that basic shape. And then what we'll do is we'll add loops and subdivisional faces so that we can better control the geometry and really start to fine-tune the shape and push and pull the objects. And then we'll use some direct editing tools. We'll use some curve alignment tools. We'll use some sketching tools to come in and actually fine-tune that particular shape. And then, time permitting, after that, We'll actually look at data interoperability, and we'll utilize some models from our SOLIDWORKS 3D CAD. We can publish them into the cloud. We can take our body from industrial design, open that up into SOLIDWORKS Desktop, and look at that data interoperability there. So that's really the plan for for the next 15 minutes or so. So I'll come in here, and let's start by looking at our 3D spaces, our 3D swim, our online platform information. So we've got dashboards here, and I've got some feed readers showing me some latest news regarding drones. I've got some links to some of my content here. If I come up into the north quadrant of the compass, I can actually go to my 3D swim, which again is that Facebook social collaboration aspect for my projects. And as the page comes up here, we'll actually see that we've got some blogs, we've got some wikis. So I may have some ideas, right? And I'm soliciting feedback from my peers or from my project collaborators. What kind of landing gears, what kind of payload mechanisms do we want? And we can make some comments, we can vote on these, and we can actually use the ideation board here to turn things from ideas into concepts and ultimately as part of the project plan. We can have a blog where we keep a thread of changes or collaborative items. We can have the wiki where people can collaborate live and edit pages together. So all of this is available as part of that 3D swim. This is the social collaboration aspect. I also have access to all this information from inside of my industrial design application as well. So if I'm going to start launching my tools, I've got the compass up here in the upper left-hand corner. I go to my 3D modeling apps, and I can pick industrial design, conceptual design, whatever I want to do. Click that to launch the tool. Inside of conceptual design, you'll notice it's a very simple user interface, and that's really by default. We don't have a lot of menu bars. We don't have a lot of extraneous information. The point is to give you as much graphics real estate as possible, so you can focus on your design. So I've actually got myself set up with a Wacom tablet here, and we can start by doing some concept sketching. So if I come out here and decide we want to sketch on the front plane, we'll create a new sketch. And with my concept sketching here, I can actually, sorry, let me reset that real quick. So in my, with my tablet or with my mouse, I can come in here and I can actually start, doing some preliminary sketches. And as I start sketching, you'll notice it kind of smooths out my curves as I create them. I can change the line thickness, the coloring, the weight, all of that. So I can really start to kind of develop the shape of this particular drone that I'm interested in. And again, this is just some rough sketching here. I don't have to be super precise because ultimately I'm going to use this as if I was using a sketch picture, but I can capture this information digitally here as I go through and sketch. So I've got one that I've spent a little bit more time sketching already, and we can see again I've got a lot of rough sketches here. I've kind of highlighted the general curves that I want to capture. But one of the things that's very useful here in industrial design is I'm actually not limited to sketching in a single plane. If I start to rotate my view, you'll see that I've actually got sketches in multiple planes. And I can hit the space bar and bring up my view cube like we have inside of SOLIDWORKS, and I can snap to my various views. But I can actually get a 3D sense of what this object is going to look like all in a single sketch entity. So now that I've got my sketch entity here, I'll go ahead and insert my first primitive and start creating my 3D shapes. So I'll come down here to the freeform tools, and we'll start by adding what we call a quad ball. And I'll go ahead and center that at the origin. And from here, I can come in and kind of scale that up or down so that it about fits the scale that I'm looking for. You'll notice some rulers if I wanted to snap to particular sizes, like we have in Instant 3D inside of SOLIDWORKS. I can also change the number of loops that are available to me that define the cage that's controlling the geometry here. I'm going to go ahead and just accept this. It's about the right size for my objects here. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to extrude one of these faces. So I'll extrude the face, and now let me snap up to the top view where I can come in and let's say I need to pull this out and add some additional loops here. So just like in SOLIDWORKS as well, I've got my mouse gestures, so I can select my loop tool and add some more loops. You can see that gives me better definition over the particular shape that I'm interested in. Once I do that, I can take some of the selections here, and using what we call the robot, I can actually drag these out and start to scale out the model. And maybe I want to stretch this piece here. We can actually make that a little wider. Come in here, ease that transition. And as I'm doing this, maybe I'll even add another set of loops right here in the middle. As I'm doing this, one thing that you'll notice is the modifications that I make to the surface, it's actually maintaining curvature continuity here. So every adjustment that we make is keeping a curvature continuous surface going for us. So again, very very easy controls, push button controls here to create some really complex geometry relatively quickly and relatively painlessly. So we kind of get the general shape that I'm looking for. Maybe kind of pull this surface up a little bit here. And then what I'll do is I'll add some additional faces here. So if I subdivide this face, it gives me a little bit better control of that particular face. I've basically made a picture frame there. And I can take a surface and pull that up, for example. Take some on the bottom. Maybe I'll extrude this face and add a couple more loops to it. Maybe I'll add 1 or 2 loops. Give me some good definition here. Now that I've got a basic shape defined, I can come in here and I can drag with freeform and just kind of fit these about where I want to, place them. So trying to do this with surfaces in SolidWorks, we know how painful that might be for us. So if I can shrink this in a little bit, okay. Maybe look at it from this front angle, shrink that in. Okay, one of the other tools that I want to highlight here for you is our ability to align things to a sketch very quickly. So if I take these objects, these vertices of our bounding cage, I can actually come in here and, again, using my mouse or using my stylus on my tablet, I can just start sketching a curve. And as I sketch the curve, it's going to fit my shape. It's going to align that shape as close as it can to my curve while still maintaining that continuity. So I can come in and try and get some good definition. And even if I don't like, this is a very iterative process. So I keep sketching until I get a shape that I'm ultimately satisfied with. And then I can come into the other side as well. Select some vertices and just start sketching my geometry to really fine-tune whatever shape it is that I'm looking for. Okay, once I've got my general shape here, I can actually come in and if I'd like to, I can pattern this around. So let me turn this into a component, and then I will pattern it around the center axis. And we'll do 4 at 90 degrees each. So here's the basic shape of my quadcopter. If I want, I can go in and hide that concept sketch here. And as I'm going through, if I need to modify the shape, right, I can come in and I can just start dragging, and it's going to drag all of those mirrored components as well. So it's dragging them all together. If I need to hide one or more components, so I can get better visual indication of what I'm doing, I can just hide that real quick. Again, come in here and drag the objects around if I needed to get in close for whatever reason. Turn that back on. So in addition to this freeform, using primitives, pushing and pulling these 3D shapes, I also have the ability to include some parametrics here as well. So if I needed to make extrudes or cuts, if I needed to sketch on a surface and make a hole of a particular diameter, if I needed to introduce fillets or chamfers, I've got all of my parametric features, or I've got a number of parametric features here as well. So we really get the best of both worlds in that if there's some mounting holes or things like that have hard dimensions associated with them, I can create my sketch. I can create my dimensions on there and create some of those parametric features that we've got available to us in conjunction with this freeform shape. And then the last thing that I want to do here is, if I go ahead and save my file, I can then export it as an SLD XML file. And this XML file, or SLD XML, is a file format that we can actually read in and import into SolidWorks as well. So I'll go ahead and export that out. And I'll launch SOLIDWORKS here. And as I come in and open my file from within SOLIDWORKS, I've got my SLD XML, and here's that sketch template. That's what I called this model here. Available for me to import. It'll come in as a imported body, but I can then continue working on it within SOLIDWORKS. Anyway, that's about all the time we have for this afternoon's webinar. I do want to thank you for joining us. If you do have questions or would like to learn more about Industrial Designer and the other apps available on the 3D Experience platform, please feel free to contact me directly. My email is there on the screen, or feel free to reach out to your local SOLIDWORKS rep, and stay tuned to our YouTube channel. We'll have a lot more videos of Industrial Designer and other 3D Experience platform tools in the next couple of weeks. So thanks again for joining us. Email me with any questions. I'm happy to stay on the line for a few more minutes and answer any questions if they're typed into the webinar as well. Thanks again, guys, for joining us this afternoon. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to email directly. Have a great rest of the day.